Hello everyone and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today we're having a look at the Bandai S.H Figuarts Star Wars 6-inch scale Darth Maul. Alright you guys, so this figure here is my very first foray into Bandai's S.H Figuarts line of 6-inch Star Wars figures. I've known about them for some time. I've thought, their 6-inch figures tend to look very good, but they are just pretty expensive and not something I've felt that I have needed up until this point, really. Well, Hasbro does mass-produced essentially toys in the 6-inch line for the Black Series. Bandai is doing these more collector-friendly, high-end 6-inch figures that are targeted towards a more specific and narrow audience. So while I knew about these, I hadn't really paid them a whole lot of attention until I went online recently, started looking them up, and saw Darth Maul and just how awesome he looked. And I thought, hey, I need to try out one of these figures just to see what I think of it, how I like it. And that's why I decided to go with Darth Maul. It just looks so cool. And looking here at the packaging, you can see that it's very small. It's almost the exact size of the figure. They really didn't waste too much extra space here for the packaging. It's a very simplistic design, yet it has that very Star Wars aesthetic to it, given the black and the silver and the classic Star Wars lettering right there, as you can see. And all around, I think it does look quite nice. The back of it shows you an image there of the figure. And I think that looks really cool. The opposite side also shows us a glimpse there of the figure. Up here at the top, it simply says S.H Figuarts Star Wars Darth Maul. And at the bottom, you get a lot of good information there, mostly which is in Japanese since Bandai is a Japanese company. And down there it says made in China. The side of the box also says S.H Figuarts is a new standard figure series that incorporates the Bandai action figure art under the theme Pursuing Character Expression Through Humanoid Action. Not sure exactly what that all means, but I'll take it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the packaging. I'm really eager to see what this is like. I'm sure it's going to be very aesthetically pleasing. I'm hoping that the articulation, all the accessories interact just fine with the figure as well. So let's go ahead and get to that, and then we'll take a closer look at Darth Maul out of the box. All right, you guys, and now we have the figure out of the box. And as you can see, it comes with quite a few accessories, which is very nice. There's also a little instruction sheet, most of which is in Japanese. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to read it for you. It shows you the heads and how to connect them to his neck peg, and it does say warning sharp. I think that's kind of funny. But looking at the figure here himself, I just gotta say this looks absolutely exquisite. Stunning likeness to Darth Maul and very nice proportions and physique to the character that looks very realistic and authentic. You can see that Lord Maul is in a very neutral pose. He does have quite a bit of very nice articulation, which we'll look at a little more in depth in just a moment. But just looking at the proportions here, really like what I'm seeing. Coloration of the outfit is very nice. Of course, it's black. It's a very matte black with a slight sheen to it. Looks very nice from top to bottom. And as noted, Maul does come with quite a few accessories, which we'll look at in just a moment. But first things first, take a look at this head sculpt. This has got to be one of the absolute best head sculpts I have seen on any 6-inch figure ever. And what I love about it is the fact that it is just so realistic and looks so much like Ray Park as he portrayed Darth Maul. It just looks absolutely picture perfect. I can't imagine that they would have done a better job on this head sculpt. I mean, it just looks like as good as you can possibly get it. I'm absolutely blown away by what I'm seeing here. It's just exquisitely done. Looking at his facial details, basically he's got his Sith eyes. They're very nicely painted. They look very clean. The red markings and the black markings are also very cleanly applied. There's not any slop, as far as I can tell. It all looks immaculate. Of course, Maul has all of his head horns. It's just a very phenomenal looking head. I mean, there's not much more I can tell you other than that it looks perfect, in my opinion. Interestingly, they also gave Maul his little stud earring that he had on his ear. The fact that they got that and put it on his head is very nice. It's very good attention to detail, of course. Now, the rest of the outfit is also very nicely done. It's very nicely sculpted. There's not too much detail or texturing. They could have gone a little bit overboard, but they didn't. They restrained themselves. I find that it's exactly adequate for a figure like this. I do like the coloring quite a bit. I do feel that it should have been a little bit of a deeper black. Perhaps I'm nitpicking. The coloration really is pretty good, but luckily it's not too shiny like Hasbro often tends to do with their figures, but I feel that it's a little bit too washed out perhaps. I think it should have been a little bit darker. That being said, I do think it looks fantastic, and no matter where you look at it from, there's lots of nice texturing and sculpt work in the fabric and on the belt. You see a few little details on it. I just think it looks great. His gloves are very nicely done. They have something of a leathery look to them. The bottom of the robes, you can see that they are textured here on the bottom, and it's quite interesting that on the top they're really not that textured. There's a little bit of texture, but not quite as much as you're going to see down here on the bottom. The back is very nicely textured too. You can kind of see that in there, and you can feel it too a little bit. And very nice. I like the way that the fabric just drapes around his body in a pretty neutral yet natural way. His legs underneath, you can lift up his fabric pieces, and you can see that they're nicely done. Nice texturing as well, nice sculpt work. At the back, same thing. The knees look a little funny, but that's because of the articulation. The boots also look very nice. They're a little bit glossier than the rest of the outfit, but not a whole lot glossier. But they still have some very nice details on there, as you can see, some latches and buckles. The bottom of the boots has some detail on them as well, no peg holes. So in the way of articulation, Darth Maul has a ball joint here at the head, and you get an excellent range of movement with it. He can go down quite a bit. He can go up. He can tilt his head a little bit, but that's mostly due to the neck. You can see that the neck is also articulated, so the neck does move around. And of course, you can move it side to side, however you wish, and it looks great. This is very interesting articulation he's got here at his shoulders. I don't know that it's exactly a ball joint type joint, but you can definitely move it in and out on either side, and you can rotate them around. It seems like there are at least 2 points of articulation either shoulder. This might be some sort of a ball joint, but it also moves. You can kind of see here this other piece of the shoulder moves as well. So that's just really interesting. He has a ball joint here at the shoulder, but you don't get a whole lot of movement with it. I would expect that you would get a little bit more than that. But, you know, I guess it's something. At the elbows, he has a single joint. It's kind of what you would call a U-shaped or a horseshoe style joint, but it can, in fact, move a full 90 degrees. Actually, I think that's even a little bit more than 90 degrees. And it's just on a single joint right there that just kind of rotates like that. When you spin it around, though, you don't get a whole lot of movement with it. In addition to that, the wrists are on their own independent joints. You can kind of move them in any direction, really. As far as his hips go, of course, those are articulated as well. And we'll just kind of move this so you can take a look at his hips, and you can move them out. Now, they don't go out like as much as you might expect they would. They don't do a perfect split. You can kind of see the articulation joints. You can kind of, you know, move them forward and back. Not as much as you might expect that you could, considering, you know, the price that these go for. The knees are similar to the elbows in that it's a single joint, but you do get a very nice degree of movement here, way beyond 90 degrees easily. And I think that that looks really nice. Really cool to be able to bend the leg back that much. That's just awesome. Now you can also swivel the lower legs just a little bit, but I think that's more due to the articulation at the knee. I don't think it's actually meant as its own sort of joint. As far as the boots go, you can move those a little bit as well. You're not going to get much movement with them though for some reason. And then he does have rocker swivels at both of the ankles. He's also got joints here at both of the toes. So you can move them very well. And I don't really like these a whole lot on Mafex figures, but on this S.H. Figuarts figure, they're very stiff. So they're not going to just like pop up on accident. It takes some force to get them to move. So in the way of accessories, you do get quite a few of them. The first of them here is an alternate head. It basically gives you Darth Maul in his angry sort of look. And I think it looks rather nice. I mean, all in all, the paint is very clean, just like with the other head. And it's definitely an angry expression that does look really good. I mean, this no doubt is a very fantastic Darth Maul head sculpt, but I just don't like it quite as much as I do the one that comes on there out of the box. Now, to interchange the heads, what you're going to do is you're going to take your Maul figure and just, you know, be gentle. Just kind of wiggle it about. You don't want to break it, of course, so just kind of, there we go. You'll see the peg right there. It's a very thin peg, so I am a little fearful of that breaking. And as you can see down here, it kind of has like a little split in it for some reason. So we'll go ahead and grab his alternate head right there. And we'll try and line it up with that hole. And this does kind of hurt my fingers because of his horns. And there you go. Yeah, there it is. And I think it looks pretty good. Definitely looks better on his body than it does just as a head by itself. But I still think I prefer the other head. It just looks a little bit better to me. Not in terms of quality, but just in terms of expression. My personal preference, I like this other head better. And once again, you do get quite a few hands here. There are 3 extra sets of hands for Darth Maul. You can see he has more of this open sort of hand that could perhaps be for like a force choke. He's got this closed hand right there, which is basically just closed at the fingers. Then we have the 3rd set of extra hands. These are pretty similar to the ones I just showed you. And now, of course, we also get Darth Maul's lightsaber hilt. And I think it looks excellent. I mean, it has a very metallic look about it. It's very sturdy. It's not bending at all. It feels very nice. And the coloration just looks spot on. And just to give you a comparison, let's bring in the Black Series version that Hasbro did. You can see that the Black Series one absolutely dwarfs the Figuarts lightsaber hilt. And the Hasbro one is actually a 2-piece hilt. So, you know, it does come out like that. You can plug it back in. And this one doesn't do that, but it doesn't really need to because you'll see that the lightsaber blades that you get with this set can be detached as well and also come on their own independent hilts right there. You don't have to mess with connecting them and so forth. So that's really cool. The individual ones, as you can see, also look very, very nice. And I really like the color of the blades. A lot of the time with lightsaber blades, they just look too dull. And again, I don't mean to compare Hasbro too much with Figuarts because it's a whole different animal, but here's the Darth Maul, just for reference. It's very deep red. It doesn't look bad by any means. I just don't think it looks as vibrant. Just look at that. They have a very nice look about them, very nice gloss, which kind of makes them sparkle in a way almost. I really like that. And they're actually tapered. They're a little bit wider at the bottom, and once you get to the tip, they taper out just a little bit. Now to remove the blades, you're basically just going to gently twist and pull, and you'll see that it has a little peg that simply goes in there. And then we can take the complete, non-battle damaged Darth Maul lightsaber, and then we'll just insert them in there. Just gently twist and push. Twist and push. And they go in so easily. And they're staying put. And this just looks great. And once again, for comparison's sake, here's the Darth Maul from the Black Series lightsaber. And I'll go ahead and grab the Figuarts one. Despite the fact that the Hasbro version has a really big hilt, the blades are actually longer on the Figuarts. Now to remove the hands, and if you watched any of my other videos involving removable hands, I hate switching out hands because I haven't had the best luck with doing it. They often break, but you know, I'm gonna go for it because this is a review and it's got to be complete. So just twist and pull. Dang, that's very tight. And just kind of, I hate how they kind of wiggle around like that because it really makes me feel like it's going to break when I'm replacing it. But here goes. We'll just line it up. Okay, looks like it's in. That was very hard to do. I also changed out his left hand and I gave him that more open hand. That one wasn't as hard to change out, but yeah, it's just, I hate changing out these hands because it's not a cheap figure and I kind of feel like it's going to break. But that being said, the pegs are definitely way stronger than they are in Mafex figures. So interestingly, with the hand that I put on here, it's one of the closed finger hands, but it seems like you can actually kind of pry it a little bit. It is very stiff, but we can get the double-bladed lightsaber in there by just bending it back and kind of just finagling it in there like that. There we go. And check out them apples. Now we have Darth Maul with his double-bladed lightsaber ready to go into battle against the Jedi. And this just looks really cool. He looks angry, and I wouldn't mess with Lord Maul at this point. You don't know what he's going to do. And he holds the lightsaber quite well. Again, I have more of this open hand on the left. I think if I would have put the closed hand like I did with the right, he'd probably hold the lightsaber a little bit better. But at the same time, I don't want to have to take him off over and over again. So I might just leave it like this for now. And if you want to display Lord Maul holding the single-bladed lightsaber, well, you can do that too. You have the option to do whatever you want. And this looks really good. He holds it very nicely in either of the two closed hands. And he's got his force push going on this hand. Whoosh. What's also kind of cool is I found that if you take the macro binoculars that come with the Black Series Darth Maul figure, they interact pretty well with the Figuarts Maul. Okay, boys and girls, so it's comparison time. On the left, we have the S.H. Figuarts Darth Maul, and on the right, we have the 6-inch Black Series version by Hasbro. As you can see, just comparing them one to the other, the Figuarts version is just a whole other level of detail and quality, whereas the Hasbro one, of course, is a mass-produced toy that in no way could possibly live up to the Figuarts version. It's just not possible. I really like the Black Series version for what it is, but again, it's really hard to compare these because totally different situation. But if you do compare them, there's no way that the Black Series version is anywhere as impressive as the Figuarts version. I'll just give you a close-up of the two figures here. As you can see, the Figuarts is just so realistic and so authentic looking, but you do get what you pay for. Of course, the Hasbro version retails at $20. The Hasbro one does have the added benefit of coming with an alternate head that is attached to his cloak as he appeared through most of the movie. So we're just talking about sheer value. Of course, the Hasbro one's going to be a lot better because you get more accessories. So I think most people would be happy with the Black Series version. I'm pretty happy with it. But just seeing how impressive the Figuarts version is, I'm especially happy to have that in my collection. And I think I'm probably going to replace the Hasbro version on my display shelf. Or I could just have them duel it out expanded universe style for who gets to be put on display. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Bandai S.H. Figuarts Star Wars 6-inch scale Darth Maul. Overall, you guys, I am thoroughly pleased with this figure. Now, while I don't want to make it a habit of paying $67 per 6-inch figure in my collection, I don't think it's a bad idea to pick and choose from the Figuarts line because there are certainly some stunning pieces in it. There are also a few pieces in it that aren't all that great in my opinion, but I do think that Darth Maul, simply going by aesthetics, is their best effort yet. And I'm really happy to have added that to my collection. I'm not going to sell my Black Series version by Hasbro. I still want to keep that because I still like it. But I really think that the Bandai version here is just so far superior. And it's just absolutely incredible how they were able to make it look so much like the Darth Maul we all know and love. And one that I am truly pleased with. No doubt this is going to be one of the highlights of my collection. Now, that being said, it is not a perfect figure. I do think that the costume should be a little bit of a deeper black, which I think would correlate better with the film. The articulation, while very nice and quite plentiful, just doesn't work as well as I would like it to. For example, the hips, you don't get a full split. The articulation at the boots and knees is a little awkward because while you get a really good bend at the knee, that's pretty much all you get. And you can't really position the actual legs or anything below the knee other than the ankles in a way that makes it a little bit more dynamic. So you can get some good poses with Darth Maul, but you can't get anything that's like too crazy. And I really would have liked to have seen them incorporate the articulation in a way that just enabled you to display him in a multitude of poses, because you can do a good bit with him. It's just not going to be quite as dynamic as what you might see with something like a Mafex figure. I also think that having a spot on his belt to attach the lightsaber hilt would have been a nice touch. Unfortunately, there's nothing like that here. But despite that, the positives far outweigh the negatives here. It is a little bit of a pricey figure. I paid about $67 through Amazon.com from a third-party seller to get it, but you can expect that with imported Japanese figures since the production run is way smaller, and the level of detail and quality you get with a figure like this is far superior anyway. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to go ahead and give Darth Maul a solid 8. Aesthetically speaking, he looks absolutely gorgeous, but the issues that I have with articulation are pretty valid concerns, and I hope that going forward that Bandai with their S.H. Figuarts line finds a way to integrate the articulation in a way that makes it a little bit more conducive to dynamic posability. Alright my friends, if you enjoyed this video, then I do encourage you to please like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments what you think about the S.H. Figuarts 6-inch Darth Maul and whether or not it is something that you would consider adding to your own collection. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter for the latest news and updates. And as always, I want to thank you for watching Victoria's Cantina. Until next time, my friends, bye-bye.